All right, Don, what are we doing today?
Canning pumpkin.
It's a big job. We've been putting it off for months.
It's true. But they say that your sweet pumpkins and squash get sweeter after a few months. So it's probably good that we procrastinated, because now it'll be a little bit sweeter.
So we're actually gonna do, we grew the pumpkins for canning, but we're also gonna try Hubbard, right?
Yeah.
Our Hubbard squash, we heard, and we know that it tastes just like pumpkin. We've cooked it already this year for a lot of our holiday meals, and it has a texture and a taste like pumpkin. So we're gonna do 10 quarts of this and see how it compares to pumpkin.
A lot of your canned pumpkin that you buy in store actually says that it's a winter squash of some sort. It's not even really a pumpkin. Anyway, so these are orange Hubbards. This was half. What Kelsey has is what's left of the other half.
It was huge.
It weighed 40 pounds.
Yeah, plus we've already gotten this much out of it right here. So the first things we're doing is we're skinning it. We're taking off the skins, and then we're dicing them into small chunks like this. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook these for a couple minutes in some water so that they're tender before we put them in the jars. So anyways, we'll walk you.
Blanching, right?
Yeah, basically. A little more than blanching, but yeah. Okay, we'll keep you guys posted. Oh, Dawn said I should tell you why I want a canned pumpkin, because this is actually our first time doing canned pumpkin. I'm doing it because he's trying to kill me.
That was your knife.
If I end up dead, it's because of the pumpkin canning. All right, so anyways, yeah, the reason I want a canned pumpkin is because it's so freaking expensive at the store to get a can. As probably most of you know, any kind of pie filling is super expensive. It's like, I don't know, I usually get the bigger can and it's like $5. So
it's like doubled in price in the last couple of years though too, right?
Yeah, it's so expensive. So I said, I'm gonna make my own pumpkin because I do use it for quite a bit. You know, over the holidays and stuff, I use it quite a bit for like pumpkin rolls and pies. That's our kids. They're down playing on the arcade Dawn built, so they're very loud. Anyways, I use it for a pumpkin roll, and then I make pumpkin muffins for the kids, and I use pumpkin quite a bit. So I'm gonna see how many pints we can get out of all of this, and hopefully last us quite a few years. If you don't like carving pumpkin, I do not recommend this as a fun project. This is definitely the worst part of the job. Not a fan. My least favorite part of carving pumpkins is happening over and over and over again.
Okay, so with that big orange Hubbard squash, that one right there, with that one, I use the knife to cut off the rind. With these sweet pie pumpkins, I started doing that, and they have a much thinner wall for one thing. Like this meat wall is probably a third to maybe even a quarter of the size of the wall of that sweetmeat. So cutting the rind off with the knife, I'm losing more of it, and it's not quite so hard. Like that's a winter squash, so it's got a really hard rind. This pumpkin, I don't know, usually like your Halloween pumpkins do have a thick rind, but this, I don't know, do it so you can see it. This is actually, it peels off really easily just with our like potato peeler. So that's how I'm gonna do it, not gonna waste as much.
Let the pumpkin boil for 2 minutes, and then we went ahead and strained it. Now I'll be scooping the pumpkin into these jars. You'll never want to go up to the neck. You just stop right here. So you leave that head space. And then once we put the pumpkin in there, we're gonna top it off with some boiling water, and we'll wipe the rims. I say that wrong every time. Wipe the rims, and then we'll get the lids on, sealed up, and then put it in the pressure canner. And we're not adding anything to this, just pumpkin. Only pumpkin. You don't need to add salt or any spices. If you want to, you can. But typically the pumpkin you get from the store only has pumpkin as well. So
in this particular batch, it's the Hubbard squash, not the actual pumpkin, but we're kind of using those interchangeably, I guess.
okay, so we have some different things going on here. I just put a couple inches of water in my pressure canner. And I always add a little splash of vinegar to this just so that my jars don't get a film on them. So that's what I do here. I've got this one just going with water that I'm going to put the pumpkin in to boil them for a few minutes. And I do old school. I heat my lids still just because I like it clean, because that's going on the inside of my food jar. So I want to make sure it's sterilized, and all my jars are sterilized, and we're almost ready to go. So wish us luck.
Okay, so as you can see, we've got 3 canners going right now. The one in the back was the first one. This was the second one, and this was the third one that we got going. What a lot of people don't think about with canning is how long it takes to get up to pressure, and you have to sustain that pressure for the duration of the time, and then it has to come down from pressure naturally. And that takes a long time. Like this one that we started, we probably started it over an hour and a half ago, maybe even a little longer than that, and it's coming down from pressure now, but we'd still be sitting and waiting before we could even put in another batch if we only had 1 canner. So you might ask, is it really necessary to have 3 canners? We think it is. I don't know, it's so handy because we can just get so much going without having to sit and wait for it to come up to pressure, sustain, and then come down. It takes a long time. So we love having the 3 pressure canners. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, now.
They're done, so we're taking them out.
So this batch was the Hubbard squash only. It definitely got a little more mushy than the other ones. I don't know if mushy is the right word, but it didn't stay in the chunks. When we boiled it before putting them in the jars, I think we overdid it a little bit on these ones because they tend to get softer than the pumpkin more quickly. Anyways, so that batch is out. Then we'll get the others out. We'll do a video at some point letting you know which ones we think taste better in our like pumpkin muffin recipes and those kind of things. Whether the Hubbard squash do, or we'll have some that are mixed Hubbard and pumpkin, and then some that are just pumpkin.